All right, James. So here's this. This is one I was talking about earlier, guys. James says, first of all, 71% positive reply rate so far. This is from his cold email, guys. Get it? I was just showing this in the video yesterday, but like, take a look at this. We're going to instantly real quick. The video that I recorded yesterday, again, local SEO insights, the week of June 16th, I think it was. June 16th. Yeah, it would have been 2 days ago. Anyways, take a look at this. We go into campaigns. Like this one just completed on, I think, June 9th. Yeah, June 9th or 10th is when this one completed. But look at overall, guys. I sent 617 contacts into the sequence, 83% open rate, not response rate, open rate. Okay. 32 opportunities. That's about, what is that? 10% would be 60. So 5%. 5% response rate on cold emails, guys. That's unheard of. Seriously, go look at other cold email stats, guys, and you'll see that, like, you get 1.5%, 2%. That's an incredible response rate. We're getting 5%, right? You guys see that? That's fucking amazing. 83% open rate and 5% opportunities or reply rate. That, to me, that's absolutely incredible. I just started this campaign might have been yesterday. So usually at the start of a campaign, you're going to get a little. Yesterday, when I recorded the video, it was at 45% open rate. A day later, it's at 51% open rate. I just started this campaign. The first emails went out on Friday, June 13th, last Friday. See what I'm saying? So this is a brand new campaign. It's a smaller list, only 307 contacts. Only 53 have been added to it so far. And they're in the sequence at some point. It just started a few days ago. So I don't think anybody's gone through the full sequence yet. It looks like, yeah, step 5 hasn't even been sent out yet. So step 5 hasn't even been sent. There's 5 emails in the sequence. So step 5 hasn't even been sent out yet. But just showing you guys, again, this is the brand new campaign. It's not even been a week. 51% open rate. So stuff works, man. I'm telling you guys. All right. So the question is this, do you pitch all 3 of your front end services on the call, or just the one that they can benefit from the most? This is a great question, James. So I'll address that. Would you recommend introducing the 3 services at a very high level and then give more details if they start asking questions that show interest? Yes. And so that's actually exactly what we do. So through the process, the lead processing process, right? Let's go back into the mastermind community, come back over here, go to the SOPs, right here, directory SOPs. This is it right there, lead processing, right? This is what it looks like. We're going to come in here. Because I want to show you guys right there. We're going to go look at it. Well, that was whatever, Facebook post. So this is going through the process for, I don't know if that was all. I might have just, give me a second. I think I just pulled that one up. I think I just labeled that Facebook post. It should have all the data in it, but we'll go to another one just to be sure. So let's go to lead processing right here. We'll just open up this one. So anyway, this is the SOP for that. And so this shows the BA how to then go in and extract all the relevant information by doing searches for the company, looking at their social media, their website, all that kind of stuff. And they populate the contact record in high level. That's what we use for our CRM with all that detail, right? Specifically, which of the 3 services the 3 front end services do they need? Sometimes it's more than one. Sometimes it's all 3, whatever. Okay. So they put all those notes in the contact record. Then when I get on the listing delivery call, which is the start of the sales conversation, then I will, again, first 10 minutes, we're reviewing the listing, and I'm talking through that and making any edits to the actual listing real time with them on the call. Then we go into the listing, or the start of the sales conversation, which is where I introduce those problems. And then I will tell them what the issues were that we identified, right? That's the problem. Then we ask them questions about, those issues and how do you think this is hurting, how do you think this is affecting your business? Let them talk. Right? Do you see how your competitor, and you name them, because you can see it in the local search grid report, you can see what the names are of the top ranked competitors. So you reference them by name, like Tommy's Tree Service. Do you see how Tommy's Tree Service is literally dominating your local area? And they're probably getting, 8 out of every 10 calls. Well, that's agitating the solution. You see what I'm saying? And you ask them questions and you get them to talk through it and answer. Anyway, then based upon how the conversation is going, let's say that all three services, LLG sites, GB SEO, and review service, all needed, they really need all three. Well, I've talked about this the last few weeks on Hump Day Hangouts, but it's worth repeating. I'm going to either lead if they are open and willing, like if they're open to the idea of getting like signing up for more than one service, and then I will suggest all of the services that we feel are most appropriate or most needed by them, right? But if I feel like they're a bit resistant to that, which the conversation will determine that, I can tell from the conversation, then I'm going to lead with what I think is either the most important, or as I've been talking about for the last few weeks, James, and that's what I'm about to repeat, is I found that I lead with the review service. Even if one of the other services like Google, look, if they have to have a Google business profile first and foremost, or we can't do the review service. So they have to at least have it published and optimized enough to where, to where it's not, has to have the proper Google business category. So in my industry, it's just tree service, right? It has to be, the name has to be correct, not something non-relevant, right? It should be linking to a website, doesn't have to, but it should be. And the website should at least be decent, etc. But what I'm getting at is, even let's just say a contact was all three of the front end services could be pitched to them. If I feel like, as long as they have a GBP that will support the review service campaign, right, then I'm going to lead with the review service. In other words, if the contact isn't, open to more than one service, if I feel like they're resistant to it because they don't know me yet, I haven't proven to them that I can deliver anything, like I say I can, other than a free listing, right? And it makes sense, and I understand that. That's why I developed these products, guys, these services as low-cost front-end services, because I used to just pitch full-on retainer-based services at $850 a month was my starting price, and that's what I used to pitch on all sales calls. There were no other options. It started at $850 and went up from there. But I learned over time by doing enough calls that I could increase my close rate by offering much lower cost services and continue to develop that relationship further, so that then I can ascend them up into higher level retainer packages at a later time. And that way I end up generating a lot more conversions from my sales calls, my booked sales calls, because instead of it's either this or nothing, it's okay, well, let's have a conversation and we'll figure out what's most appropriate for you at this time, which oftentimes was something of lesser value than what the full retainer package is, because they're not ready to commit to that yet, because they don't know me yet, and they've been burned by other SEO companies, etc. So that's why I have these three front-end services. But to get back to the question, even if they needed all three, as long as they have a GBP that will support a reviews campaign, then I'm going to lead with that. I'm going to suggest that, or I'm going to prioritize that. And that is because as long as the GBP will support the reviews, meaning it's published, it's verified, etc., then generally from the reviews alone, as long as they have a customer list, they have to have a pre-existing customer list in order for this to work. Then we're going to do a review generation campaign initially with their customer list, where we're going to do a blast to try to get a flood of new reviews in within a 10 to 14 day period, within 2 weeks. Okay. And through the competition analysis, which I do, it's really the local search grid report, which we generate before the call. So I have the local search grid report available on the call, and it shows the top ranked competitors and the quantity of reviews and the star ratings and everything else. And so I can determine from that about how many reviews we need to get within the next 10 to 14 days in order to show typically a nice lift in maps search. Like, in other words, the local search grid report, we can, remember, we're selling reviews at this point, but that's typically going to have an influence on how the GBP performs in search. And so if I'm only going to pitch one because I've caught some resistance on more than one service, then I'm going to lead with the review service, because with that service, I can most likely show search performance improvements, as well as the tangible result of just having a higher star rating, review count quantity, right? Plus star ratings if they have anything less than five stars, and we're going to try to get them 5-star reviews, which is going, again, that's a vanity play for them to see their reputation quantity, their review quantity increase, and also their star rating improve if it was lower than 5. So that's a vanity thing that you're kind of playing to, number one. But then number two, it will typically show an improvement in maps search, right? That won't stick unless they have a steady stream of new reviews coming in after that initial flood. So that's why we, like, for example, I just recorded some training about a new client that I sold a review service to in a tree contractor in Pennsylvania. And so I was recording training videos for the SOP. And he gave me a list of like 270 contacts or something like that. And we took about 70 contacts from that list to put into the initial campaign, which is current. It's in progress right now. It actually started on Monday this week. So, and he went from, well, shit, I'll just show it to you. Let's just show it to you. It was 13 reviews. Well, it was 12 reviews when we started. Last Friday, when I was setting up the campaign, I did a test message to one of his contacts, and they submitted a review. So it went to 13 on Friday. And then on Monday is when I actually started officially the campaign. And now they're at 23. We got them 11 reviews, guys. Again, officially the campaign started on Monday. It was at 12 on Friday. But like I said, as I was kind of configuring the high level account, I did an actual review request out to one of his contacts, and they actually submitted a review within the same day. And so it went from 12 to 13 on Friday. But on Monday is when the official start date of the campaign was. And so it's been 5 days, and we've gone from 13 to 20, or 5 days. It's been 3 days. And we've gone from 13 to 23 reviews, right? I could show you, because I could show the local search grid report where it actually showed that count previously. Anyway, all I'm saying is that's what I want to lead with, right? I'm going to give it, but the initial email review request campaign for that list of 70 contacts is going to go over 2 weeks. And then once that's done, then the remaining contacts, roughly 200 contacts on the list, they go on to a drip campaign where we'll do like 2 review requests per day, Monday through Friday. That's it, right? That's it. And that's because we don't want to go through the whole list and get a flood of reviews and then it's crickets afterwards, because then any performance gains they get will eventually wane. They'll go down for not continuing to receive reviews. So what I'm getting at, hopefully answer your question, James, is depending on the conversation and what their current online presence looks like, if they're ready and willing and able to purchase more than one service, I'm going to recommend whatever is relevant to them, right? Whatever I feel is most important to their improving their digital presence. If I feel like there's any sort of resistance to multiple services being offered to them, then I'm going to lead, as long as the GBP is in a state that will support the reviews campaign, and they have a customer list, that's a pre-requirement, then I will go ahead and pitch the review service for the reasons that I just described. Now, sometimes I get on calls with a tree contractor who already has a decent online presence, and they already have a decent lead volume. And through the conversation, we determine that it's not that they actually need more leads, but they need a better lead management system, which is then when I will pitch them the answering service. See, and again, the answering service is $199 a month. It gives them 500 minutes a month, and it's only 25 cents per minute a month in overage. And the answering service not only answers inbound calls, takes the contact information, the job details, etc., and then sends it to the contact, but then they also, it's also a message taking app. I just had that developed last week. Like, in other words, if a pre-existing client or customer calls the contractor and asks a question, like to leave a message or to give an update about, like an example would be, hey, I'm just calling in to make sure that the crew knows the access code to the gate at our driveway, and also they know not to park on the grass, right? That's a message that now the AI answering service can take. And then now the AI answering service, which also sends the lead information, can now relay messages to the contractor. So I'm just showing you the different front-end services that we have. There was a reason that I developed those guys. It was because I got tired of getting on sales calls, pitching my full load, so to speak, and then getting denied from that. And so it's not that I didn't also close some of those at a later time when they were ready, because time and circumstance changes everything. It's true that I would land some of those clients at a later time when they were ready. But I found that I have a much higher conversion rate if I can close them on a much lesser, like lower cost service that they don't even think about. And that way I can continue to develop the relationship. And I'll do things like, if they get on the review service, right, I'll send it, even after a sales call, if they don't purchase anything yet, there's other things that I will do to help kind of encourage them to take that next step, which would be to purchase something, right? So for example, rep videos, right? You guys know rep videos with David Sprague's reputation videos or whatever. We've seen those for years. I think they look great. A lot of local SEO, excuse me, local businesses haven't seen them. So I'll take one of the reviews, and even if they haven't become a customer yet, and create a reputation, I call it a review commercial. That's what I call it, but it's a rep video. But a review commercial, I'll create a review commercial from one of their reviews, and I'll send it to them in an email. Like, hey, just following up, reaching out again, just to contact you, to check on you, see how you're doing, see how your business is doing. Oh, and hey, by the way, I noticed you got a new 5-star review last week or 2 weeks ago, or whatever, and I thought it looked great, so I did this, and you send them the video. It's hosted on my YouTube channel, but you send them the video and you say, hey, you can put this on your website, or you can, post it on your social media or whatever. It's free of charge, but listen, reach back out to me. I got some other things I want to bring to your attention, or that I want to kind of some opportunities that I want to share with you, etc. Right? Again, you give them something of value, right? So this contact, even if you don't close them on the call, there's nurture sequences built into my automations and everything, depending on which service it is that we talked about. We just tag them, and it automatically adds with the appropriate tag, and it automatically adds them into the correct sequence, which is a nurture sequence about whatever services we talked about on the call. But there's other things that we can do to help continue to further nurture and develop that contact to move that sale forward, right? And so, again, guys, build that relationship. And I promise you, what happens is over time, you get all these contacts that you build all this goodwill with that might not have been ready initially to close, but at some point they will be. And who do you think they're going to go to? It will be you, because you gave them the attention that they deserved. You see what I'm saying? Guys, so I mean, I've been doing this for 15 years, and it hasn't been until I started kind of learning sales tactics and then also learning about just treating people with proper respect, right? And as a salesperson, like when you first get into sales, like I know it's always about closing the sale, but I've learned over the last 4 going on 5 years that I've really been, intense about studying marketing, like direct response marketing and sales and practicing and all that kind of stuff, is that when you treat people like people instead of like a sale that needs to be closed, it changes the dynamic. Like 100%, it really does. Don't get me wrong. You're going to get on sales calls where they're just going to be flat out pricks no matter what. And for those people, by the way, if you have a pipeline full of contacts that are in your nurture sequence or in the nurture phase, do you think you have to spend any time or energy on those contacts that are acting like pricks? Like, no. Because that's the thing, guys. Think about it now. If you don't have a prospect line, like a pipeline full of prospects, then you'll bend over backwards and you'll eat a shit burger from a prospect if you think it'll close the sale, right? Because you need the additional revenue and you don't have a lot of other opportunities available to you. I know, because I've been there. I've done that, where I would literally bend over backwards and for a contact or prospect that was being unreasonable just to close the damn sale because I needed the revenue years ago, right? I've been there, guys. So what's the better alternative? Fill your pipeline full of leads, because you're going to run across those that are going to be unreasonable. Well, guess what? You can tell them to hit the road, go kick rocks, like go kick rocks. Go shit in your hat, right? There's no reason for me to continue talking to you, right? I don't have to, and I don't have to be rude about it. I just have to, like, hey, your directory listing is published. I appreciate your time. Goodbye. Get off the phone. Get off the Zoom call, whatever, right? Move on. You've got more contacts available to sell to. So anyway, great question, James. I really appreciate that question. I think, again, depending on the situation, as long as they have the contact list and a GVP that will support reviews, lead with the reviews, that tends to show the best results. And remember, I'm not guaranteeing anything other than we'll increase your review count. And so that's why I don't pitch that it's going to improve your Google business profile performance or your presence in map search. When I offer them the review service, I don't tell them that. I then tell them that after we do the initial review campaign, and usually the local search grid report shows significant improvement from that blast of reviews that they just received. And then that's when I bring that to their attention, because I don't want to pitch that to them ahead of time and say, oh, and by the way, this is going to improve your Google business profile performance, et cetera. Because what happens if we do the review campaign and And it's one of those cases where it didn't improve the performance of the GBP much. That does happen occasionally. Well, then now I didn't deliver upon what I said I was going to. That's why I don't tell them that with the review service. I tell them, look, we're going to increase your review count. As long as you provide a good service, it should be high star ratings from those reviews. And that's going to increase your exposure. And that's going to also make it more likely that people searching for tree services in your area will pick you because you have a good reputation. Do you understand? And then we also do reputation marketing, like review commercials are included, 1 review commercial per month. So I pitch that. I say, these are part of your deliverables for this service. But I don't pitch the GBP performance gain, right? Until it happens. Once it happens, then I bring it to their attention. Now that's added value, right? Do you understand? We under promised and over delivered at that point. That's why I don't pitch that. I don't bring it to their attention until after it's occurred. Okay. Hopefully that's clear.